Have you ever played Halo 3? Either of you?
No, I have kids. They don't.
Okay, but I would like, if with your permission, to sing you a little bit of it, if that's all right.
Poor bastard.
Halo 3! One of, and some would argue, the last great game with Master Chief. Halo 3 was the first Halo campaign that I ever beat. I arrived on the Halo campaign train a little bit late, but as I mentioned in the last two previous Halo vids, I would identify myself as a Halo OG. You see, in high school, I was what is referred to as a mall rat. The mall was a relevant place to go back then. When now, if you ever find yourself in a mall, you will notice that much of the time the malls are all but barren except for some bars and restaurants. I blame Jeff Bezos. GameStop had Halo Combat Evolved Player vs. Player demo before it was released on Xbox. We played it there every single day because it was the best player versus player game ever. GoldenEye, who? GoldenEye was another thing that was relevant back then. You guys don't even know what the I'm talking about.
Watch your profanity.
I was one of the first few people to ever play Halo. So talk smack all you want about me beating Halo 3 first. I was one of the first wave of people to ever play Halo ever.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Halo 3, the last great Master Chief game before the game and story got way too convoluted. Halo 5 story was good. I finally beat that game for this video series, and sweet Jesus, that was the only good thing about Halo 5. I thought, don't worry, I have a special video about Halo 4 and 5. I think I'm gonna condense both games into one video, because, When Halo first released on Xbox 360, it was one of the most fresh-looking games out there, period. This is part of the same original vision that the creators of Halo were capitalizing on. The graphics at the time were as good as any graphics of the last generation, and the music! Oh, the music! Halo never held back even a tiny bit with its music. Halo 3 is one of my favorite Halo campaigns because it looked and played so amazingly. Graphics and frame rate. In beating the game on Heroic for the umpteenth time, and for the first time by a Master Chief Collection, I am very happy with the graphics and upgrade that 434 Studios implemented. Unlike Halo 1 and 2, where you can switch graphics with the push of a button, Halo 3 you cannot do that. You're stuck with the new graphics, new lighting, new HDR, and new 4K viewing. I played on the Xbox One X, got full 4K and pretty good HDR. I hate to say the lit areas don't seem to look as stunning as Halo 2, but regardless, the lighting is nice, especially during the beginning of the game when you're outdoors in the wild. I had some minor frame rate issues, but nothing too serious. Things up close don't look that hot, as we see in really all the other Halo games. Up close isn't better than any Halo game, arguably worse than Halo 2's upgrade. Arguably. The sky looks amazing and every inch of the game has been upgraded. For graphics and frame rate, I give Halo 3 a 9 because the graphic upgrade is definitely fresh to death. Sound and voice acting. We will start with Halo 3's score. As for scores, any game out there to this day is going to get a run for their money standing up to Halo 2 with his famous rock bands and guitar wizard Steve Vai. But by God, Halo 3 sounds fantastic as well. It was written by the world-famous Martin O'Donnell and Michael Salvatore, who wrote the other 2 Halo soundtracks. The soundtrack holds up to any Halo game out there, and some would say it's the best soundtrack to date as for Halo games. The ending of Halo's last chapter has probably the most memorable and noteworthy scores of the whole series. The voice acting in this game is excellent. As good as Halo 2, in this game they are going for more of a story-driven narrative than the first 2 games. There are a lot of cutscenes in this game. Many more than its 2 predecessors, to where it's kind of felt like a television space drama at times, which lended a lot of room for acting, and I must say the acting was pulled off very well. Okay, the guns. The guns seem very muted and not punchy at all. The gunfire for the human and alien weapons are so muted that they leave very much to be desired. There's no punch to any of the weapons at all. Not sure what Microsoft Studio was thinking by putting the gunfire sound in the background of the game. Gunfire is a giant step down. I'll give sound and voice acting an 8.5, and it would be lower if the soundtrack wasn't so absolutely marvelous. As I already have mentioned, Halo 3's story is very much in the foreground of this game, but it's not trying to be a movie. The game is split right down the middle with half story and half gameplay, or so it would seem. The story starts out when Master Chief lands in Africa after taking a huge fall for some convoluted reason, then meets up with Johnson and the Arbiter. The story seriously doesn't make a whole lot of sense, as it ties in after the events from a comic book called Halo Uprising. I don't read comic books, and I didn't read comic books 10 years ago. I also don't play with action figures while I'm in the tub, because I'm a grown-ass man. I would assume most people who purchased Halo 3 weren't buying the goddamn comic book either. So, after just playing Halo 1 and 2, I was taken back by all the cutscenes that this game had, and how long they were. I'm the guy who plays video games for the gameplay and not so much the story anyway. A few plot points were spoon-fed to me though, like Cortana malfunctioning and a Halo ring needed activated to defeat the Flood, even though 434 Guilty Spark wanted to do that in Halo 2 and it was bad then. The long and many cutscenes were beneficial in understanding what exactly is going on to a degree, and cutscenes did have a rather cinematic feel for sure. It was just such a drastic change from 1 and 2. I can't say that enough. The story gets a 7.5 and would be even lower if it weren't for some dramatic plot points that reeled me in, and the ending of course was great, and I put my blinders on a bit and gave the story the benefit of the doubt for this score. If I made the number any lower, it would have affected the game's total score. Halo 3 is a fantastic game and does not deserve a low score by any means. Halo's storyline is usually a bit of an enigma, perfectly mirroring our protagonist. It was within the margin of being acceptable. Both the gameplay and the maps were fantastic. The game might have some of the best maps in the entire Halo franchise, from the lush greenery of Eastern Africa, some throwback maps that reminded me of Halo 1's Gauntlet style maps, to of course the famous ending, where you're racing your Warhog to Forward Unto Dawn, which in a way, it seems like Halo is giving you a wink and saying, we know how the ending of Halo 1 was frustrating and kinda shitty, and we're gonna make up for that, and they did. Like tenfold, obviously. This game is fun and extremely engaging. Master Chief's melees finally count for something. Heroic is playable, and legendary difficulty is very challenging, as of course it should be. like Halo 2 on heroic. Halo 3's legendary is the same difficulty as Halo 2 heroic, and you know it, alright? Don't front with me. The gameplay and maps are where Halo shines. 10 out of 10. With all my numbers calculated, Halo 3 gets an 8.75 out of 10, and rounded up it gets an 8.8. Slightly higher rating than Halo 1, which I think it undoubtedly deserves. Tell me what you think rating Halo 3 deserves. Tell me what your favorite ever Halo game is. And pretty please, for the love of God, subscribe to this channel and like this video. It will really help me. I really appreciate it, and ring that bell. This series is far from done. You guys have been great. Blessings.